Howdy folks, and welcome to a special preview video of the Armored Warfare Global Operations game mode. Last night I was invited onto the North American Armored Warfare test server for a special play session, having a go of their brand new game mode coming in the next patch 0.18, Global Operations. Now, I've mentioned Global Operations in Mingles with Jingles a couple of weeks back, and I was getting very cautiously excited about the whole idea of Global Operations, and last night I actually got to try it for the first time. Okay, we're taking 3. At least that's the plan. Put 3 tanks in there.
We got plenty of cover.
Yeah, lots of nice dead tanks.
Nice.
Snipe the Terminator. He's firing missiles. All I can see is his... I'm doing 370 damage to his optics every time I fire. Okay, we've taken 3. How are you guys doing on 2 and 1? Pushing through now. There we go. Terminator's down. Oh, sorry, I'm in your way. Right, there's 2 MBT-70s there. We'll get the side of one of them. Good solid hit. Ow, that hurt. Right, I'm taking flanking fire here. I'm probably going to get one more shot off and then I'm dead. Yeah, I'm down. Okay, I'm going to respawn. I'm going to respawn up by 1. It looks like we've got it down at the southern end, so I'm going to respawn up by the north. Help them out up there.
There's plenty of wall.
UAV overhead on 4. If anybody has an autocannon
With a nice one.
or a missile, I'll get him. Yep, got him. Missiles work nicely. Oh, Typhoon 2 got away. Oh, somebody finished it. Good. Place the pillbox, and I'm getting the fuck out of here. Excuse my French. It was a BFM5 shootout. Oh, a lot of enemy tanks clustering around.
Yeah, they're going for 5. Oh, going quite a bit.
Yeah, we're going for 4. Bunch of AFEs. Oh shit, I'm out of ammo. He's on 47 health. No. No. Yes! Rammed him. Ah, there's one behind me. Ah, run away, run away. Oh, there's one in front of me. Oh, shit. Oh, God, they're everywhere. Right. I think I'm going to run away now. I'm heading for 7. I'm heading for the safety of these pillboxes. I've got a VFM5 after me. Oh, we've nearly won.
Yep.
Oh my god. Oh
Look
my
at this
god.
wave of enemies right now. And they're all dying.
Ah, crap. An NPC. No, don't shoot me. Ah, game over. Ah.
Wayne.
User joined your channel.
That was fun.
Yeah. That's really fun.
So, those of you who hadn't played Armored Warfare before are probably sitting there thinking, what the hell was all that about? And those of you who have played Armored Warfare before are probably sitting there thinking, what the hell was all that about? You see, Global Ops is different. It's not like your standard PvP 15 versus 15 random battle, and it's not like your standard 5 versus hundreds PvE co-op battle. Instead, Global Ops takes the best elements of both and then throws in a whole bunch of new stuff as well. And since that's an absolutely terrible explanation, we're going to run some background roll footage, and I'll talk you through exactly what you can expect to see in a Global Ops match in Armoured Warfare, and why I think this is amazing, and it's the way ahead for Armoured Warfare. Armoured Warfare was always going to struggle in a market dominated by games like World of Tanks, in the same way that War Thunder has. Now, War Thunder's got its own thing. It's more of a simulator than World of Tanks, and it's got that to set it apart from the market leader. Armoured Warfare, up until this point, has had two selling points. One, modern vehicles, with modern mechanics. And it's had the PvE co-op battles. And if all you want to do is be second best to World of Tanks, then Armoured Warfare could probably quite comfortably manage that. But when you're looking at a game as big as World of Tanks, there's a real big gap between first place and second place. Especially if all you're really bringing to the table is World of Tanks with some slightly tweaked mechanics and modern vehicle skins. And doubtless there are plenty of people out there who want nothing more than that from Armoured Warfare. And you're always going to be able to have that in Armoured Warfare. They're not taking away the 15 versus 15 PvP battles, which up until now has been the bread and butter of all the PvP action in Armoured Warfare. That's not going anywhere. Global Ops is just giving you other options. So what's this Global Ops thing all about? Well, it's a new game mode that you are going to be able to select coming up in the next patch 0.18 in exactly the same way that you can select whether you want to play Lords of War, Custom Battle, or a regular PvP battle. It's there in the PvP drop-down mission selector box at the top of the screen in the garage. You just select Global Ops and you go into a different game queue. Once the game starts, however, all similarities with a 15 versus 15 PvP random battle are off. In a random battle, once your tank's knocked out, that's it, you're a spectator for the rest of the match, or go back to the garage, pick another tank, and off you go. Just like in a game of World of Tanks. In Global Ops, you get respawns. You don't win the game by knocking out all the enemy tanks. You can never knock out all the enemy tanks because there are unlimited respawns. All you suffer is a 30-second delay, and then you can pick one of three, in the current iteration of the game mode, one of three respawn points from which to redeploy your vehicle. Knocking out enemy tanks, however, does reduce the enemy team's ticket counter, which you can see there at the top of the screen. Blue tickets, your team; red tickets, the enemy team. Now, this very neatly addresses the single biggest issue that I ever had with Armoured Warfare PvP, and that issue was, once you start losing tanks in a 15 versus 15 random battle, it becomes very, very hard, not impossible, but very, very hard for the losing team to ever regain the advantage. And that's all to do with the way armour is laid out on a modern tank. These tanks fire ammunition that can penetrate anything up to, and sometimes in excess of 1,000 millimeters of effective armour. And so, in order to remain competitive, a modern main battle tank has to be able to take hits from that kind of ammunition. The problem, of course, is that armour protection is part of a compromise on a tank, and not just a modern tank, it's always been this way. It's a compromise between mobility, firepower, and protection. If you want to have 1,000 millimeters of effective armour all around the tank, well, it's going to be too heavy to move anywhere. And so modern main battle tanks have all of their armour in a 60-degree cone extending from the rear of the turret out towards the front of the vehicle. Which means that while a modern main battle tank may be very good at taking hits from the front, from the sides and the rear, it's a much, much different story. Your tank may have up to 1,000 millimeters of effective frontal armour, but its side armour, particularly towards the rear of the sides, is probably only going to be, say, 300 millimeters of effective armour, and the rear armour may even be as little as 175. But the ammunition that's being fired at the tank is the same, regardless of what angle it's being fired from. It's still got anything up to, and sometimes more than, 1,000 millimeters of effective penetration. And so, in a random PvP 15 versus 15 battle, if even the most heavily armoured main battle tank exposes as little as 20 to 30 degrees of its side armour to enemies shooting at it from the front, their ammunition is going to overmatch that side armour with ease, and they're going to get carved up. And so what this has meant, at least in my admittedly limited experience in Armoured Warfare PvP, is that once one team starts losing a couple of tanks, suddenly the enemy team, because they've got more tanks now, have got more opportunities to get those high-angle frontal flanking shots in and do even more damage. And so the team that starts losing tanks finds it very hard, not impossible, but very, very hard to regain the advantage, come back and win the match. Global Ops has respawns, unlimited respawns, so this is just not an issue when you're playing Global Ops. Unlimited respawns is a real game changer for Armoured Warfare PvP, because, well, things are a lot less campy. You can afford to be more aggressive, try more risky moves. If it works, you're a hero. If it doesn't work, well, wait 30 seconds, pick your respawn point, have another go. And if unlimited respawns was all that Global Operations brought to the table, well, that alone would be worth it, but Global Ops brings so much more. Have a look at the top of the screen here. Just underneath the two teams' ticket counters you can see 3 objectives, 1, 2 and 3. On this map, Desert Crossing, Objective 1 is an airstrip at the north of the map, and the enemy team control that. Objective 2 is an aircraft carrier in the dock in the centre of the map, and the friendly team control that. Objective number 3 is right here. It's the bridge at the crossing at the southern end of the map, and as you can see, it's somewhat contested. So straight away, hopefully, you can see that it's not about killing enemy tanks, it's about capturing the objectives. Now obviously, you're going to have to kill enemy tanks to capture those objectives because they're trying to capture them as well. But oh look, multiple additional objectives just popped up. Global Ops will keep doing this. It does it to keep the battle flowing and constantly giving you something new to fight over. But some of these new objectives are what we call wildcards, and wildcards are awesome. They pop up on the map just like objectives. And our man in the VFM5 here is just about to capture himself, there you go, a Pillbox Wildcard. He can now select from a number of different positions on his map by pressing the Q key as to where exactly he's going to drop off this pillbox. Well, it's not just one pillbox, it's a whole bunch of them. And what they will now do is fire anti-tank guided missiles at any enemy tanks that they see. They'll also spot enemy tanks for you. Another type of wildcard is the UAV, the unmanned aerial vehicle that you saw me taking out with an anti-tank guided missile on my T-72 earlier on in this video. And the UAV does exactly what you'd expect. It provides visibility of any enemy vehicles wherever you deploy it on the map. The third wildcard that can pop up, and doesn't pop up nearly as often as the Pillbox or UAV wildcard, is the Airstrike. Oh boy, the Airstrike. You basically call in a strike from a bunch of B-2 bombers and carpet bomb an area. You can knock out multiple tanks in one go, which is why the Airstrike doesn't pop up for capture as often as the other wildcards. It's very, very powerful. Just check this out. There we go, he's just plotted where he wants the carpet bombing to take place, and if you keep an eye open on the sky, somebody's just fired a smoke screen, wants to take out this Terminator. The B2s up there, they go, do you see them? Look at that. Oh yeah. Oh well, too little too late, wasn't enough to turn the tide in that particular battle. And these are the only 3 wildcards that are available at the moment, but as you can imagine, I mean, there's all kinds of things that they could throw in as a wildcard in these battles. Artillery strikes, just the first thing that leaps to mind. Call in a fire mission from off-map artillery. I'm sure you can come up with your own ideas. I mean, the sky is quite literally the limit with this whole wildcard idea. Now, doubtless at this point some of you are drawing comparisons between the wildcard system in Armoured Warfare Global Ops and the killstreak system in Call of Duty, and yeah, that's a fair comparison to make. The way you go about actually obtaining the wildcard in Armoured Warfare is different. You have to capture an area, but the end result is pretty much the same. It just gives you something else you can do other than point your gun at the tank and pull the trigger. It works in Call of Duty, and it works very, very nicely here in Armoured Warfare Global Operations as well. And that's not all. They're also playing around with changing the environmental factors when you're playing a game. What do you mean by that, Jingles? Well, here on the Desert Crossing map, at some point during the game, a sandstorm's going to close in, and that will reduce visibility. The sandstorm works pretty much exactly the same way that the cyclone does in World of Warships. You get a warning that the sandstorm's about to close in, and then when it does, the skies darken, visibility is restricted, and spotting distances get reduced drastically. And so that means that, well, it's a lot easier to get around the map undetected and sneak the captures of some of those outlying objectives and some of those sneaky wildcards that pop up without being bothered too much by the enemy. Unless, of course, they have exactly the same idea and you end up running into them at point blank range because you didn't see them coming because there was a sandstorm. Again, it keeps things interesting. And these are big maps, by the way. I think this Desert Crossing map is 60% bigger than the current biggest PvP map available in Armoured Warfare. And I never felt restricted on this map either. I never felt like it was a corridor map. When I was barreling around the place on my VBL, if a wildcard popped up and I thought, ooh, I want to head over there, I was able to head over there. I never felt restricted because there were main battle tanks blocking the end of the corridor that I needed to get through. There was always a way for me to get around. I really do feel that Obsidian are onto a massive winner with this Global Ops PvP game mode. And I say PvP game mode with great care because, well, it is a PvP game mode just with some PvE elements. But up until this point, the only real thing, aside from the fact that they were modern vehicles, that Armoured Warfare had to set itself apart from the competition, and we're talking World of Tanks here, was PvE battle, cooperative battle. And while I love the cooperative battle mode in Armoured Warfare, there's a reason why World of Tanks is as popular as it is. And it's not because World of Tanks offers co-op battle. World of Tanks doesn't offer co-op battle. And so Obsidian could only ever really hope for second place if all they were going to do was concentrate on their PvE. People have a lot invested in World of Tanks. People have spent a lot of money on World of Tanks. I certainly have. And simply saying, hey look, we're kind of like World of Tanks in most respects, but we have modern vehicles and also we have cooperative battles, was never really going to be enough to make Armoured Warfare the success that I genuinely think it deserves to be. You had to offer people more than that, otherwise the only people you were going to tempt away from World of Tanks were the people who were pissed off with World of Tanks already and were looking for any kind of excuse to try a different game. With this new game mode, if they don't push this new game mode as hard as they possibly can and make it the focus of their development, they're fools. You see, I've been wondering for quite some time now just exactly where Obsidian were going to develop Armoured Warfare, which direction were they going to take it in, because, well, the cold hard fact is that Armoured Warfare's co-op battles, the PvE mode, is more popular than their PvP. And that's not really surprising when you consider who they're going up against. I mean, Wargaming's World of Tanks is the market leader. It dominates the market, and it has dominated the market for a long time. And you've got to be pretty confident in your game to go up against the market leader at their own game, 15 versus 15 PvP. And so it really wouldn't have surprised me much at all if Obsidian had thought to themselves, well, we'll keep the 15 versus 15 PvP in there because some people like it. But we're going to focus development more on expanding the co-op battles because that's where we're the most popular. That wouldn't have surprised me at all. But that's not what they're doing. That's not what they're doing at all. They've thrown their hat very, very firmly into the PvP battle arena with global operations. But it's different. It's what sets the game apart. It's 15 versus 15 PvP, but it's not like any 15 versus 15 PvP you see in World of Tanks. There is just so much more going on. They've taken elements of PvE from the co-op battle and they've thrown it in here. And then they've expanded on it massively. And there's absolutely no reason why they can't take elements of global ops, the wildcard system for example, and shifting objectives, and put them into the co-op battles. I mean, the co-op battles have shifting objectives anyway, but they're always the same. That's the thing. You pretty much know exactly what's going to happen once you've played it a couple of times in any given Armoured Warfare co-op battle. You know when the enemy vehicles are going to spawn, you know where they're probably going to spawn from. There aren't any real surprises in there. Global Ops isn't like that. Aside from the 3 starting objectives, the follow-up objectives can happen anywhere and in any order. It constantly keeps you on your toes. It's so much fun to play. I had a whale of a time playing on the North American test server last night, in the couple of games that I had a go of on this Desert Crossing map. They need to make it a major focus of their development. They need more global ops maps. They need to try to perhaps introduce global ops features into the existing PvP maps. It needs to be what Armored Warfare is about, because it's awesome, it's different, and they're the only ones doing it. And it's coming in the next patch. I personally can't wait. I never thought I'd see the day when I was actually looking forward to a PvP game mode in Armored Warfare. But I'm hooked. They've got me converted. I love this game mode. And I hope you guys are going to love it too, because it really does deserve to be a success. Anyway, that's it for the day. Enjoy your weekend, folks. Take care, and I'll catch you next time.